On this episode, I talk to you about what to do with doubt as a Christian. Check it out. Hi everyone, my name is Justin, and I want to welcome you to That Christian Vlogger, a place where you get to come and join me and experience faith in the first person. Today, I want to talk to you about Christian doubts. One of the main goals that I have on this channel is to do my very best to be as open and as honest with you about my personal faith journey as possible. So what that means to me is to not only talk about the good things that are taking place in my life, but also the struggles that I face on a regular basis. This is kind of what I'm trying to go for when I use the phrase faith in the first person. I'm always trying to share with you my personal perspective on my relationship with God in hopes that somewhere that dialogue you can relate and receive a blessing. The truth is that sometimes, or I should say often, I wrestle with things too. And I feel like this is something culturally that I'm not supposed to say. A lot of times we as society look down on pastors or teachers or people in positions of influence when they open up about their struggles or their doubts. But today I'm trying to do away with that because I don't like having a fake facade and pretending to be like I'm someone that I'm not. Because let's be real, all Christians have struggles, and it's not as though that you or even I were the only ones that were faced with doubts and challenges. Sometimes I feel like we have this false understanding that if only we were more holy, if we prayed more, if we studied our Bibles more, and if we went to church more, then we wouldn't have as many struggles in our life as we do. But a verse I like to cling to in these moments is Revelation 3:19. And here the Bible talks about how God reproves and disciplines those people who he loves. In other words, rather than being evidence that God isn't with me, trials are actually evidence that God is still at work in my life and hasn't given up. I mean, if you think about it for a little bit, even Jesus had moments of difficulties in his life and in even his personal ministry. And it wasn't as though everything always went smoothly for him. I mean, if you remember that whole cross incident, that was pretty rough. Jesus had real obstacles and real challenges that he faced on a regular basis. And it wasn't like God had abandoned him or anything like that. Recently, I've been having these nagging doubts running through my head. Things saying like, you're a fake, or what's the point of doing this ministry because you're not having an impact on anyone's life, or why don't you just give up? And the truth is that at times it can be so hard to ignore those voices and those thoughts. There are times where I can't help but feel like I'm wasting my time or that I'm just putting on a show. Perhaps some of you guys have ever felt like this before, and if you do, I would love to know how you guys kind of handle these doubts or these moments of wrestling and struggling with these types of questions. So I thought in this video that I'd share with you what I try to do whenever I have these types of nagging doubts in my life. The first thing that I try to do is focus on the source of these doubts and to realize where these doubts really are coming from. Did you know that the Bible describes the devil as the accuser of the brethren? In other words, one of the main goals of the devil is to make you and I feel bad about ourselves and to accuse us of all the times that we have failed. In the book of Zechariah, we get to see a sort of behind the scenes look at exactly how all these things play out. The Bible describes how Joshua, the high priest, is standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan is actually there too, standing right at his side and pointing at Joshua and looking at all of his flaws and his failings as a man and accusing him. And in this text, Satan's going really hard. I mean, he's not holding back at all. He mentions every time that Joshua was prideful, every time he was lied to, every time he had doubts or anger. And the crazy thing is that it's not like the devil in this instant was lying or making these things up. The Bible says that Joshua is actually standing before God dressed in filthy garments. Now, this filthy garments language is a symbol in the Bible for Joshua's lack of purity and his lack of holiness. In other words, these filthy garments represent every single sin that Joshua has ever committed and will commit in the future as well. But check out what God does. God doesn't just leave Joshua standing there feeling vulnerable and dirty, but instead he has these filthy garments removed from Joshua and says, "Behold, I have taken your iniquity away from you, and I will clothe you in pure vestments." Pay attention to this. This is powerful. The devil is in the business of accusation while God is in the business of salvation. So you've failed God and you've messed up. You've lost your temper for the 100th time, or you've got caught up in that sin that you've tried to swear off over and over again. You find yourself standing before a holy God caught in nothing but a dirty diaper. And I've been there too. There's so many times in my life where I feel dirty and worthless. There's so many times where I've been so disappointed in myself. And it's especially in those moments when I hear the accusations of the devil. And depending upon what point in my life that I'm at, that voice can seem so convincing, so loud, and so discouraging. But never forget how God responds to this. Even when the accusations are in fact true, God is not so concerned about these little things. While man can only judge on the outside and judge by our actions, God can actually see into the heart. Yes, we fail God and we mess up and we make mistakes, but God is able to see past those mistakes and understand the true intentions of your heart. You see, these voices of doubt that we often hear in our hearts telling us that we've gone too far don't actually come from God. They come from Satan. Jesus has promised us that if we come to him, he will never cast us aside. Yes, there are times where I can't help but feel like I've let God down, but in those moments, God reminds me that I actually never held him up. The Bible says that God is the one who holds me up with his righteous right hand. And even when I fall or doubt or make mistakes, God is there picking me back up and holding me up. So if you're struggling with doubt or anxiety or fear of what's coming, I want to invite you to allow God to hold you up as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that this video on Christian doubt was helpful to you and that you related with something in that. If you have a question on this subject or you have any thoughts pertaining to the subject of Christian doubt, I'd love to connect with you in the comment section below. Also, I am wanting to do a Q&A video in the near future, so if you'd like me to respond to a specific question, be sure to submit your questions down below as well. Until next time, I'm That Christian Vlogger, and I want to encourage you to experience faith in the first person. God bless.